everybody.
Hey,
Uh,
Ronnie.
so sorry we're running late. It's my fault. I was tired. It's been a long week and a lot of oh, and my wife made banana bread.
Here, taste this. See if you like
Banana bread.
Now the whole internet is jealous.
it.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
It's surprising it still doesn't have a ton of banana flavor.
And
I
it
had
was
so many bananas.
I know. She meant to order 6 bananas, but brought her 6 bunches. Not like I can't make that up.
Listen, with all that's going on, we can use the extra bananas to throw at people.
Man. So my wife's a baker, for those who don't know. And apparently tonight she decided to make banana bread. She's not a baker by trade, but she should be, but it's just a hobby. Um, so I sent you something earlier today. Oh, everyone who doesn't know, I'm John Mam. I'm currently the CTO of Obsess, who just got acquired. I can actually talk about that. So we're all excited. We got acquired by Infinite Reality. Woo! 2 weeks ago. And now I can officially talk about it. The press release is out and all of that. And this is Shawn Johnson. So Shawn, go ahead, say hi.
Hey guys, Shawn Johnson, the People's CTO, testing out my new branding. Um, yeah, yeah. I did not get acquired by the way.
Not yet,
Not yet.
but we're working on that's going to be the next goal. So that's all that's been going on with me. So there's a lot of work that it's been going behind the scenes, and now we're back. I saw this, ironically, I saw this thing on the subway this morning. It was called Railway, and they apparently are. That is what it's called. I'm gonna 100% look that up because I don't want to be a liar.
It's funny when you sent it, my brain automatically translated to runway because I'm familiar with runway
Right.
dot.
Yeah, no, I'm
And
familiar with Runway. This is Railway, and it's um here. I'll just show the world, right? So how do I do that? Let's see here, and then this. Shipping great products is hard. Scaling infrastructure is easy, and it looks like a competitor to Vercel. And it goes
mm,
it what's really interesting of what it when you scroll through it, it shows you what it replaces, right?
oh,
Kubernetes, right? ECS, all of that. So you can scale and grow with that its own back end. It replaces this replaces Datadog, Sentry. Oh, we use Sentry and OpenTella. And then it keeps going and going of the things that it actually replaces. 4.2
mhm.
million deploys per month. So, is it a good product? I have no idea. I am wow, it's HIPAA compliant. Holy crap.
That's a
So
lot.
that's I know a lot about compliance. Probably more than I want to, but I'm really good about compliance. And to be HIPAA compliant is really difficult. So good for them. Anyway, so uh, that is one side of it, and I was looking into it, and I don't know if it does AI stuff in regards to generation, but something to look into, and just raising a flag of, hey, people, check this out. But the real news that I wanted to talk about was how amazing Replit is. Um,
Yes.
I
Well,
I can't
let
speak highly enough about it right now.
it's so interesting because I'm right there with you, but I'm not a little bit of it just takes patience. Like I love I do love Replit. Um, I wish it had some of the features that V0 had, like for instance now like some of these newer features like being able to select sections. Like in V0, you can grab the little arrow and say, hey, I want you to look at specifically this. And I've started using that and I'm kind of hooked on it because I didn't even notice it was there for a while. So being able to grab a component and go, hey, look at this component specifically and do what I'm asking you to do.
Well, you know what you can do is you can start in Replit, push it to GitHub, and then have V0 or Cursor do the next step.
Absolutely. That's true. Just remember, you can't go backwards.
No, you can go to
But
Replit to V0. You can't go from V0 to Replit.
But as with everything these days, there's always a workaround.
Right.
What you can do is you can set up a SSH client channel to your session in Cursor, and those changes will be reflected in Replit. I have, yeah.
Wait, no, wait. I have a better solution now. So Replit added Git connectivity now.
So I saw that.
I did it. I did it this weekend. It works.
And you were able to pull the code down and push it to the repo
and push and then redeploy, and it was done. So
all right, hold on a second, because my brain just broke. Let me make sure I understand what you just said.
Yep.
I can take this project I have in Replit, attach it to a repo, which is great for version control, because that's a big issue. But can I edit the code in Replit? I mean, outside of the repo, in the repo, push it back to the repo, and then see it represented in. All right, let's demo that.
You want? I can do that right now. That's actually I am down. So let me pull up. Let's see, what do I want to pull up? I want to pull up a new browser window. All right, so I'm going to go into Replit. I know you can't see it yet. Give me a sec to get. And I will. Let's go here. We'll go to progress. Yeah, and I'll do it with VS Code. Is that good enough?
Oh yeah, sure. Any editor you like.
Gotta kill some Slack stuff. All right, VS Code. VS Code, not that project. Hold on.
Yeah, yes, be careful.
Yeah. Let's go back to, I think I just killed it. Yeah, so let's open a new one, and I think I already have that repo. I do, because this is the machine I did it on, so it's crazy cool. Don't save. I'm good there. Yeah, here we go. All right, so let's show some code. Oh, can I do this? Can you see it?
Yep.
Ah, sweet. That works. All right, so I ask a bunch of questions. It does stuff. Let me show you the actual site that I'm actually doing, and it is my personal site. This entire site I did on Replit, and we will, for here, we'll do a quick check exchange. Okay.
Yep.
So growing startups. If I go into here,
I got a modifier.
Okay.
I know you set up. I think you opened VS Code.
Yeah.
Have Cursor make the change.
I don't have Cursor on this machine.
Got it. All right, that's fine. That's fine.
But I think I have GitHub Copilot. I do. So do you want to do it with Copilot?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, in the title bar. What? It went away. Let's see. Go away. Here. There's that. Where is Copilot? Postman, Docker. Hold on. Copilot. There we go. Okay, here we go. There's the suggestion. That's the footer. We'll do the nav bar. I think it should be able to read the whole thing. I've never used it for an entire thing. So we're going to do this real time because that's the best way to do stuff. Let's see what else we got for Copilot. Manage Copilot pan, Copilot, open Copilot edits. Where's the Copilot chat? Other commands. Yeah, I should have. It's active. Yeah. So why is it not showing up? Let's figure out how to do that. Copilot. Copilot. Manage Copilot settings. Open Copilot edits. Here we go. There we go. So let's get rid of this. Nope, don't want that. Don't care about that, but that's fine. And change the header to what is it? The hero to say. Oh, I wonder if I can do this so you can. I think it's this. No, it's here. Whatever. Change the hero to say startups series A plus. How's that? Let's see what it says. Update the logo text at the logo text. Let's see where startups and code. Oh wow, no, that is incorrect. How do I not?
You can reject it. Is like an X or something there?
Discard. Yeah, don't want that. That was interesting. So that's wrong. Discard this change. Yeah. Let's see. Helping startups. No, it's. Oh, I think I'm in the wrong file. I think that's the problem. Which really it should. I was hoping it would actually go through the entire thing, but it won't.
Sometimes you have to ask it to. Now I don't use Copilot, but I run into this problem sometimes when I introduce new code to Cursor or some of the other tools. I have to basically say review this whole file, or here is the file I want you to look at.
Yeah. So here. Oh yeah. So these are the working files. So let's get rid of those files, and I want this and say. Update the H1 to say technical excellence for startups series A plus. And let's see what that does. Scanning the file. Yep, there you go. Done.
Mm-hmm.
And I will accept that change. And then here, I literally do get status. Oh, I gotta save it. Save. And then get status. Yep. Get add. Get commit. -m. Updated H1. And then push. Okay. So, wrong language. All right. So now that I've pushed it, I come over to here and I go down to all tools and it has Git somewhere in here. Git. And it does give me this warning here, right? Of the file, your index is currently locked. If you don't have any Git operations that are running, you can delete your .git index lock file. And all I do is come here and I literally click on delete and say yes. And now it has all of this. And I literally merge in main, nothing to pull or push. Let's do a sync. Confirm for the session. Can't pull, you have uncommitted changes. Oh, I have changes here. So I'm already getting merge requests. I mean, merge conflicts. So let's push. Let's do that. You sync with remote, one commit to pull. So I wonder, I've never done a pull from here. That's the remote settings. And yeah, initial commit. Oh, Sage. Oh, here we go. Let's see what the changes are. Oh yeah, I changed it because my domain propagated. So updated the domain for my blog. And now stage and commit all changes. Great. And then pull. And then sync with remote. So technically it should have pulled it. So now if I go into the hero here, startups for Series A+.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
This is like I think this is a really big deal because before you had to do this SSH thing, which was cool because it was kind of real time, but this is even better.
And I just pulled from Replit locally onto onto VS Code, and it pulled in the 2 changes for the blog and the footer.
I wonder, I wonder. My brain is like, okay, I'm trying to process this because I'm like, our first statement was how much we love Replit, and I'm drinking to that. But as I was saying, I'm working on a website right now, and so let me give you the scenario. I got a client, like I'm testing this theory of new clients, right? So I got a very small website, and I started building it in V0, right? It was going really well, but then I said to myself, why did I do this in V0? Because now I was going to do some content management system. I know I can do it. I've done it before, but now I have to do all the plumbing for the database for content management. I'm using Supabase, and that instantly made V0 like less attractive. And I said, well, let me just port over what I have, not code-wise, just design-wise, to Replit. And it was a bit of a slog, right? Like it was happening, but it wasn't happening fast enough. It was taking. I spent about $20, which is nothing in the big scheme of things, but I didn't spend $20 on the V0 side. Like the things were happening much more rapidly. But again, I'm the benefit of Replit is so huge. I was able to build it, connect the CMS system, host it with almost no effort.
Yep.
Right. So I kept this dual channel thing going on. I kept making changes to the V0 for design aesthetics for the customer. And I kept like porting them over. And then I'm like, I keep asking myself, like, why does it feel tougher to get things done in Replit from a UI perspective? Like when you were working on that, I asked Replit to change the title of the website color, and it took 3 prompts. Even though
interesting. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and again, I feel like sometimes we just would not appreciate. I've been working with these tools for almost 4 months, Replit included, maybe even longer now, 5.5 months. I'm so used to it. My expectations can be out of whack. I think people, like, I often find myself saying this to myself, that people just don't appreciate all the magic that is happening when we ask things to be done.
That
right?
is accurate.
Right. It doesn't matter if you're coding or whatever you're doing. Our expectations are constantly like more and more and more without any appreciation of all of the stuff that's going in it. So I'm keeping that balance. I I love Replit. I use it daily. There are times, as we discussed prior, like where I just would there's like a decision tree in my head where, hey, I'm going to be writing custom code that I may be contributing to, or I need something done a lot quicker and I don't have any vested interest. So this is like kind of my diversion point where I might use Replit versus V0. Um, but now what you just showed me means that I could possibly have the best of both worlds.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
and just because I'm a shit kicker, it gets even more crazy than that. So we got Replit, we got V0. I use V0 is backed by Vercel. So my current workflow is I'm going to talk about V0 because we talked about this. But my current workflow is I picked it. I'm going to be working on it, and I may contribute code myself. So I pull my code down into Cursor. I make changes. You
Sorry,
uh,
I didn't mean to call you.
no, you're good. I just anyway. I make changes, and when I'm ready, I push it to the repo, attach that repo to Vercel, and it gets deployed, which is magic. I can going back to my original point of having like just being thankful for the state of tech that we are. I can't tell you how much drama and trauma, setting up these continuous the CDI pipelines and all of the hooks. I didn't do anything. I just hit a button and it all worked. It pulled from my repo, it deployed it, databases included, everything just worked. SSL worked. I'm super appreciative. Now, as I was saying, like this process. Now, I will tell you, Cursor, like the TypeScript errors that you get, like there's a process where I have to go through and fix all the TypeScript errors.
Oh,
That's in my like what I consider to be my hardcore path. But there are times you can deploy directly from V0 to Vercel, no, like with any errors.
well, you'll get some. I mean, what I've seen with V0 is V0 has been exceptionally good at front end and front end only. But if you need to connect to a database or any type of like if you want to create an API or even have an integration to like a third party, V0 is not as good as Replit. But
I agree, and I want to dig into that because technically, under the code, if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, they're all using Sonnet 3.5.
yep, that's correct.
So then, what's the rub?
The way they have implemented it, just because you have a good model doesn't mean you have a good interface.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
actually, that's actually a really good topic. And that's what I'm starting to realize is everyone's going to be using the same big models, right? Whatever they are, whether it be a something from ChatGPT or something from Gemini or something from Anthropic. All of those models are going to win. Those are going to be the big models that people are going to be using. What's starting to win now, and I think will win moving forward, is the interface for those models.
Yeah.
Uh, Anybody can write a prompt, right? However, not everybody can write a good prompt.
Yeah.
And when you start having an interface that actually puts some guardrails on that for the individual and say, hey, this is the tell me what you're thinking and I'm going to help you write better, right? And everyone's thinking, oh, I know how to write a prompt. Well, you don't know how to write a prompt for the model that they're using to actually get the output that you want. You know in your head what you want the output to be, but that doesn't mean the computer knows what's in your head. And the only way you can get there is have uh, I, the thing that I've learned is actually using AI to help you communicate with the AI.
Absolutely. I mean, a couple of things. One, yes, absolutely. Two, this is another nod to Replit because Replit has the improve your prompt button right there, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
And the other thing that I really liked about Replit, is when I start a new project with it. I mean, for the record, Shawn and I don't work for Replit. We don't get paid by them. There's no advertising on it. We just like the product. But what's really cool about it is when I start a project, it's like, here are some additional features you might want as part of your blueprint. Would you
Yep.
like to add those? I
Yep.
never do that, by the way. I
Yep.
always start with the base to see how close it gets to what I want. And then I will add features over time.
Which is a good. So just sorry, pause.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about prompting, and maybe we should have a session on prompting and talk a little bit deeper. And
I'm
I,
taking notes.
yes, and so the idea would be um, how efficient a prompt is for and what should be your expectation of the result per model. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. But um, the prompt. So going back to what you're saying is like working through the prompt, the buttons there, it makes it better, and it is a superior experience to, as you were saying, like V0. And I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right. I agree that V0 is better for UI, but it does degrade when you start asking it to do complicated stuff. Now, remember, I built a website that had like a what I'm calling a pseudo backend because I didn't connect it to the database, but it had some data structures that it created, and I forgot that I was working in V0 because what you said is usually what I say. Oh, if I have to do a database, then and if I don't want to get involved, setting up the server, making all this, I will go to Replit. But I was working on it. I wasn't paying attention. I was just asking it to do things, and it just did it. Now, to your point, it didn't do it great when it was time to port over my database schema to like Superbase. I had to redo it.
Does which one does V0 have the connection to Supabase?
It doesn't have like a built-in connection, but you can
There's
start.
one that actually does.
Oh well, Lovable. I'm sorry.
Lovable.
Yeah,
That's what it
Lovable has
is.
a built-in one, and Bolt.new has built-in one. Yeah. So those two that I know of, and actually, I want to save a spot for Tempo because I'm really excited about Tempo.
I don't know about Tempo.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Let's find out about Tempo.
Oh,
Yeah, and there's something that you're gonna laugh at my pun I'm about to make. There's something that bubbled up in my radar recently, and it's Bubble.io, right?
yes. Yep.
And
Yep.
it's back, and I it kind of was really the hot new thing in regards to building things,
Mm-hmm.
in regards to mobile apps, which
Yeah.
you're the expert of building mobile apps, and because of that, I'm like, how good is it become? Because for it to come back on my radar for something that was mediocre when it first came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm wondering if have you used Bubble recently, and what do you know about it? But wait before you go there, let's stay on Tempo. What is Tempo?
So Tempo Labs, I think it's tempolabs.ai. Which, um, it's a it's a mix of things. So some of the things I like about Tempo, or at least it's got me excited because I haven't really dug too deep into it, is it has elements of Figma. It will create a PRD for you before it creates anything. So currently, my workflow is to go into ChatGPT, create a PRD, use the PRD, distill it to a prompt, and use that prompt in whatever generation tool of choice. But this guy actually does this for you. So it will generate a PRD in a similar way. Replit creates like this contract, like, hey, I'm going to do these things if that's what you want. But the difference is Replit doesn't give you like a PRD to refer to. This gives you a PRD. Also, it has a Figma-esque interface where you can select components and interact with them individually.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it actually builds individual components and apparently works with any React code base.
Mm-hmm. I've even, and I haven't done it, but I've even seen it draw diagrams, which was an instant move to the top of the list. Let me take a look at this.
Oh wow, look at
Yeah,
this.
it's pretty cool, right? That little component that you can drag around. I don't think, yeah, no, you can only do that one, but yeah, that's cool. I've seen this, I've seen this component in other places.
That's kind of fun.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Are these actual people dragging these around in real time?
Maybe.
I hadn't.
Why don't
Oh
you?
yeah, yeah, because I moved my mouse and it turns. It's telling me it's me.
Well,
Looks
no, it says you, like as
like.
in, but these might be just. Those aren't real. It's not real time. Those
Yeah,
are
yeah. I was like, wait a minute, is this like a mini game?
no. Um, yeah, features per week. VC. Interesting. So yeah, they're doing something with Agent Plus too. But the thing that's really cool about this was this right here, $0 a month.
Well, we need to definitely. I'm taking some notes. We need to talk about that too. The
So
cost of things. So
I'm gonna put that in our notes for sure. That's kind of cool. Tempo. Because the truth is everything costs something, right?
yeah, and then I just wish, and I feel like Replit is trying to be good about it. I wish I wish they would be better about saying, explaining, hey, this is what you're doing is costing you.
Let's see if I log out. What do I see? Let's see what it has. So yeah,
They
limited.
Yeah, they
They
just created the free tier, and they've actually so the Replit core was more, and they dropped the price.
no, it's still the same. It's 25 per month. It's just
Oh,
if you do yearly, you
yeah,
say
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Which is I find interesting because I paid for it for I joined when the only option was to pay for it for the year. That was really early.
But they also have scalable computes and all of that. So they're trying to compete with
Mhm.
the big
The one
boys.
thing I will say is that the databases and the servers don't cost much of anything.
No, for sure. Like the cost of this on something like AWS would be significantly more than $25 a month,
Yeah.
especially if you're doing database stuff. Actually, it's if you're just doing the static website, S3 is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
You could do it in a Google bucket too, and Google actually has a good routing system, and you could literally do all of that in once. I'm very disappointed in Google for selling off their domains though to Squarespace.
And it was handled so poorly. It was
Well,
handled.
the handoff was, but Google Domains was a great product.
It was. It was.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm now, for those curious, I have moved those to Cloudflare just because Cloudflare is great. Uh, yeah, that's the pricing. And then obviously you could do Teams for Replit. That would be crazy of doing a Replit thing on Teams. I
Mm-hmm.
One of
I
the
would love to know
things
what this.
about doing anything on Teams is crazy. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I would love to know what that experience. I mean, maybe we should try that. Like,
Oh, me and you be a team and try
yeah,
and do
like be
some.
a team and try to build things together. Like, I would be interested to see what that does to the cost of things. Are we for a team? Is it just more like more prompts, or they don't call them prompts? They're uh checkpoints. You pay per
Checkpoints. Well, and one of the things while I was building that, because my chat got too big, it recommended me moving to a new chat for a new feature. So
not
then I was
that.
having multiple chats for different features.
Oh, I
which
didn't.
actually you can do that and tie it back to the same code base. So in regards to teams, let's say you're working on component A and I'm working on component B, we can have two separate prompts that would actually go to the same code base that we could preview together.
I got to see this. Like I
Yeah.
got to.
I
And,
haven't done it. I haven't
yeah,
done
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but that's one of the advantages
Coming
of using
soon. Coming
teams.
soon. Like
But I want to see how it handles merge conflicts. Apparently not well.
I would imagine that would be tough, right? It's tough for us. I would imagine it'd be tough for it.
I'm sure AI is going to be better at it than we are soon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
Yep.
Rapid prototyping. Yeah. So, oh yeah, I meant to tell you. So I met with this guy today, and he actually runs a software team. Right. He's got a bunch of projects coming in, and I talked to him about AI stuff, and he was like, "Oh, AI is killing our business," and I was like, "Well, what's your business?"
Yeah.
Well, here's why AI was killing his business, because what he would do is he would come in and build prototypes for people.
Mm-hmm.
No one will pay for prototypes anymore. There's no reason to.
See,
Because if they talk to you with a prototype, you'll be like, give me a minute. You mean like this? And you'll just show them through AI in minutes. And then the production code is when you start going to those software teams, right? That's when you want the real engineers behind it to build it for scale, for security, for compliance, for all of those things that AI doesn't take into account. They're like, it looks pretty, let's ship it.
yeah. Well, a couple. You just opened a whole can, so let's
I
let's
did.
let's, let's walk through this, right? One, I love what you said initially. What are you actually selling? Because a lot of times people don't know what they sell. Oh, I do prototypes. No, you manage customers. You manage customers like expectations into a prototype. The pro and I kind of disagree with what you said that no one's paying for prototypes. I think one. Let me give you an example that you probably will align with you very well. We've had WordPress for years. WordPress was designed so that people. It was supposed to be the Google, the Word doc of internet, right? But people pay for WordPress stuff. And to this day, right now, people are paying for projects done in WordPress.
Yep.
No one wants to do the work themselves, right? Either you don't know how, you don't have the ability, some reason you don't have the ability, or whatever. Design is a big piece, right? So I don't expect that to change from a prototype perspective. So if I am that guy that you were talking to. I'm targeting early stage startups and new companies who have ideas, who've never built software before, and now I can provide those offerings to you at a price point that you can afford. Where before, even building your prototype will go max out your budget. Or, here's the funny thing: prototype MVP. What we're talking about, right? Like I'm talking about from like an actual customer. They don't know the difference. We're using terms like MVP, prototype, concept. They don't have a clue where to set their expectations. So what? So in the case of, and this is just my personal opinion, an MVP takes one feature from start to finish, right? You got an idea, it might be five ideas, but the main feature of the thing does work to perfection, right? It's
Yep.
not a bunch of half ideas or a picture or something. It's, hey, here's the,
Working code.
yeah, the concept, even the code quality is kind of irrelevant, which is what you pointed out, but the idea is visually there. Oh, yes, I can put something in A, process it through B, and have it represented on the screen. That that flow is done. I can see it. I can play with it. It can, jot new ideas. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe my expectation was when I saw it, it didn't match my expectations. And this is why we do the work we do, right? Because if you just give people access to build things, they're just gonna build nothing. Like they always like we like and this happens so often, not with people without technical skills. The people with the most technical skills, when you look at their repos, it's just a bunch of half thought out ideas.
That's accurate. How many? Like I could go through my wow, that would be a fun little journey. Is me to go through my GitHub repos on this channel
Yeah.
and just go. Let's look at how many projects I've started. I mean, I'm sure I like there was one I remember I spent weeks on, and I did an entire end-to-end Firebase tutorial, and
Mhm.
I did screenshots, I did video training, I did step by step, I built an entire project. I showed you how to do authentic. Like I literally, but it also took me pretty much a month and a half to actually finish the whole thing end to end.
Mhm.
And that's like every weekend working on it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this one, and I did. But that's the one that came out of my 100 and something repos. Like, do I have things that I've finished? Sure, but a lot of them are just oh, I need they're sandboxes,
Yeah,
and they're
ideas you're working out.
they're components. They're
Mhm.
things I'm gonna eventually do. Um, but you're right. Like the most technical, the more technical people become, the less likely they are to finish it.
Yeah, I have this conversation with one of my other friends all the time. He will over engineer himself into a box, and it's my job, And by the way, this is I don't know if this is controversial or a hot take. I believe that engineers' trajectory is good engineers become product people,
I
and
I don't want to agree with you, but I do. And here's I and I'll it drives me nuts. You're right, and I don't want you to be. It's because what we learn as we go through the engineering thing, um, and this was my experience when I went through it. I started writing C++ code professionally. Like that's where I started. So what did I focus on? Memory management. Like I was down to network latency and wanted to make sure all of these embedded systems would work really well together. And then I got into databases and I started growing my technical skill set. But then I'd have all these product people come to me who are like, well, that looks like crap. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I started moving into the front end. And like I could go down this whole story, but what I have realized is no one cares about your code.
no
They
one cares about the. I would even argue. Well, I'll leave it there because we care about the quality of code. Like we judge each other's code quality, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't improve the experience for a user, no one cares.
right, and it has to make the user experience better. So as I've moved in my career, I have realized that the most important thing is the end user. Because if the end user is happy and they'll use your product without thinking about it, then you're gonna sell 1 million copies of it, mainly because they're gonna tell everybody about it. They're like, oh, I live on this thing.
Well,
That's the phrase that I always love to hear when I release an app. And they're like, what's an app that you can't live without? And when they name something I created, I'm like, oh, well, I
yeah,
did so.
yeah,
That one's right. I did that one right.
that one. No, this is exactly right. Right. I often say we should be like the feeling a user has when they walk away from your product is the statement. It's kind of what you just said. It's like they don't have any idea of the implementation. They there are your wife walking into your room, giving you a slice of banana bread, and you going, "This is excellent,"
It was good.
right? You have no idea how many bananas were sacrificed to get that experience, but you will remember that first bite for quite some time.
Yep.
And that is, I mean, to be truthful and not to get on too much of a tangent, that's what user experience is about, right? A lot of designers who, in my opinion, don't have enough experience will over design in the same vein as some of our engineers will over engineer stuff. A lot of designers will over design things and outpace the customer's fidelity.
And they will do things that are beautiful and like engaging and amazing
To
that
do.
that will be amazing the first time you see it.
Th-
The next time you use it,
It will
you'll be
be invisible.
annoyed. No, you'll be annoyed by it of like
Yeah.
it's taking too long. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a really cool transition. I don't want that anymore. And I think everyone's worried about the first user experience because it is important. But I really think the second one is the more important one because that means they've come back to use it again.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I like that. We've kind of we've I feel like there's been a shift in this conversation, but it's great. And I
We're
think,
talking about user experience.
yeah, no, but because I think it's so important. Like going back to the example, this guy, the guy you were talking about, is, oh yeah, it's eating our lunch. Well, that's because you got the wrong menu. I mean, in my
Right.
opinion,
No,
right?
no, for sure.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of hungry people and you're selling them Legos. It's like
And again, no, everyone has been caught flat-footed because we're like, first it's like AI. Oh yeah, that's a bunch of if then that, right? Like I remember thinking, oh, I'm gonna. There was a meme where you see AI and you pull it off, and it's a bunch of
it's a
if.
big case statement. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that's not where we are, and it's
No.
happened so fast. I mean, you have to use AI tools. I'm not saying you have to use generated code tools, but you have to use AI tools to be competitive. Like I was in, so for those of you who don't know, I teach a lot. I'm currently teaching a I think it's a great segue. Um, a no code app building class on the campus of Spelman, right? Which is kind of a mind screw in itself, right? Because I have computer science students and I have non-computer science students, and the computer science students are like, we want to code. It's not real if you don't code, but they don't have any real world experience and they don't know all the gems we just dropped. No one gives a crap about your code. They want the byproduct of the code, and that is, you got to keep that in mind as in this new market. But I'm like scared to tell them that because we're in the academic setting.
Right.
Right? So today I kind of broke down. Like I was working with Flutterflow, which I love, and kind of going back to your example about Bubble, what was Bubble was great, and there's a bunch of tools like Bubble, but I also am very interested, like how they transition to the agent version of Bubble, because to your point, Bubble was not that great at creating experiences, but what it was really good at is giving highly motivated individuals a tool that they could build something.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
they could build it well enough to hand it to an engineer to finish it.
well, in the case of Bubble, there's no real engineering on their platform unless I misunderstood something because I haven't used it a ton, but I've used it. It what I the version. Let me remix what you just said.
Hmm.
You can give an engineer the prototype that you built in Bubble and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for.
But a bubble generates React code.
See, I didn't even know that because
Yeah.
when I used Bubble, it was you couldn't
Am
get the
I?
code.
Let me see if I'm crazy. Um, Full stack new app builder. What will you build? Or am I thinking of? I might be thinking of Flutterflow. I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah. And well, Flutterflow produces Flutter code, but I think the concept is the same, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a couple of tools that will spit out actual components that you can use, but I think the concept is the same. You build a prototype that you're excited about, and then you bring it to a conversation with an engineer, and they build like the real version.
Yeah, you're right. You do not get access to
Yeah,
the code. It's all on their plat. It's like building on the Roblox
yeah,
platform, right? It's
yeah,
it's all self-contained.
yeah. And of course, if you could just export out of their platform, then you wouldn't be paying for the subscription, and that would be.
Oh, that's everyone's got a game.
Yep. So no, this is good. This is so to recap, we love Replit. Um, we love Replit, and now there's ways to connect your codes to make it easier to port into Replit, to make changes that outside of Replit. I've been thinking you're saving money because you're not submitting checkpoint after checkpoint, which is what I'm going through right now. So you can pull it down, make local changes, push it up. Hopefully, no.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like for those little changes, you don't have to do the checkpoints and you don't have to generate cost because you could do it all locally.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I never even thought of the cost benefits of doing it locally too. But yeah, that's another pro of being able to sync it with your Git.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're coming up on time. I
Oh
know.
wow. Yeah, we
Yeah.
started a little late. That's my fault. Sorry
No,
everybody.
we're all good. But next week we're probably going to be talking about a comparison between. We're going to talk about prompt engineering from the point of view. It's my role to set the content calendar,
Yeah.
and I haven't really yet. So bear with me, guys.
I,
But
I
next
have
week,
it prompting on how to write better prompts.
well, not only how to write better prompts, but a comparison to a good prompt in two different. We kind of did this last time. Like we asked a V0 and Replit the same thing,
Yep.
but we're gonna take the prompt and put it in a couple different places and see how the agents handle it. Not necessarily the out. We want to see the outcome, yes,
But
but we also want to
let's see
see
how the agent improves the prompt.
exactly
Oh yeah,
and
that's great.
yeah the overall experience.
I'm taking notes. AI for prompt improvement. Improvement. Great. Yeah, we can do that next week.
Yeah,
Cool.
and also coming up, we're gonna build our first agent. We're gonna show you guys how to build your first agent.
Well, that's news to me, but I'm down.
Yeah.
You know I love building stuff.
Okay, guys.
Cool. I will talk to y'all later and thanks for tuning in and we will see y'all next week.